We are in sync.
Look at us. Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. To introduce our two newest players, Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith. We're going to open it up with just some brief words from Talisa before we get started. Then we'll open it up to questions here in the room and then questions for those joining us on the Zoom as well. To help us out, if you could say your name and your outlet that you're representing, that will help us as well. Talisa, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We are thrilled to officially welcome Skylar and Nneka to Seattle, to our Storm family, and to the greater Seattle community. As we think about last year and transitioning to this free agency period and building for our future, it really started when Jewel signed her extension at the end of last season. Jewel's commitment to be here in Seattle and her loyalty to this organization was a catalyst to what became a great free agency period for us, as evidenced by sitting here with these two players today, Skylar and Nneka, two of the best players in the history of our league. Skylar and Nneka are incredibly accomplished on and off the court. Skylar, six-time All-WNBA, six-time All-Star, Olympian, the ultimate competitor, a leader. She was in the top 10 in assists and points each of the last 5 seasons she played, and she's going to provide an incredibly dynamic backcourt duo alongside Jewel. Nneka, one of the most respected leaders our game has ever seen, a champion, 8-time WNBA All-Star, 6-time All-WNBA selection, and is coming off one of the best seasons of her career. Nneka is a proficient scorer inside and out, is really going to bolster our front court. We're excited to have her as well. Their accolades are extensive. I feel like we could spend this whole time talking about their on-court achievements. However, equally important to us is who they are and how they're going to impact our organization and elevate our team and be positive contributors to our team culture, our organization, our fans, and the broader Seattle community. Their belief in our ownership group, the investment in this organization and what this team can accomplish together is exciting. It's really motivating for all of us, and we are honored to have them here in Seattle with us. Thank you.
All right, we'll open it up to questions in the room. Percy Allen, why don't you start us out?
Hi, guys. I guess the first question would be to T. As you went into the off season, just what plans did you have, and was this sort of, I would guess, the top of those plans?
Yes. Option 1, plan A was Nneka and Skylar. We knew that we needed a point guard. We knew that we wanted an elite veteran point guard to really elevate our team, and really, Skylar fits that and more. We're so excited for how she's going to lead our team, her experience, her dog mentality, her leadership, how she's really going to elevate everyone, as well as the talent that she brings. And the opportunity to add Nneka was obviously one that was at the top of the list as well. To have her and everything that she brings from a leadership standpoint with our post group, to be alongside Ezzy and our front court and everything, that she can do to really elevate our paint presence. So this was plan A. We're so happy that we were able to execute that plan, and they're both with us now.
I'm Mike Farrell, Seattle Times. For Nneka and Skylar, some might think that there's pressure associated with coming into a franchise that has had so much success, so many legends that have come through here, but it also could be seen as a selling point in terms of joining this kind of a culture, this kind of foundation of success. I'm wondering how you viewed coming into a franchise that has had that success and whether that was part of the reason you wanted to be here.
Okay. She said I'm in the front court, so I'm going first.
I'm already telling her what to do.
I think that, as I've kind of entered this league, especially, starting off in LA, you can't ignore the house that other people built. That's something that comes with enjoying that part of being a part of such a historic organization. I've been a part of building a house. I've been in a house that, the Lisas, Delicias, and so many others that, that built in the one that I had been living in. And so coming here was really important because there's so much legacy, and that legacy doesn't come lightly at all. It comes with a standard and expectation. I don't really use the word pressure per se, unless you're making diamonds, but I think that the standard and the expectation and the history and the legacy that comes with considering a team like this, with the team welcoming us in like this, and us also continuing to build off of that, is what really drew me here. And it's something that I'm really looking forward to add to my experience as a player and my contribution as a Stormy. And also, I don't know if that's what you guys say, but and also, sorry, and also as a member of this league.
Jeff Brown with Storm Chasers. Nneka, playing your whole career with Los Angeles, how difficult was it to make that decision to leave? And what were the kind of the key items about Seattle that you wanted to come here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that any type of comfort that you develop being at home, it's going to be difficult for you to square leaving. But the only thing that's constant in this life is change, and so I think leaning into it more as it being like a transformation, an opportunity, and also too realistically, I don't have a lot of years to play, and I'm not playing my whole life, but I am going to play several more years, definitely not just one more. So y'all get that out of your heads, but and I wanted to be a part of an organization where I could finish really strong, and with what I mentioned before, having that foundation of legacy and history, success too. There's been a lot of success here. And that, of course, combined with the leadership that we see in the front office, especially on the coaching staff, and most notably with ownership, is something that really drew me to be able to make my decision to come here.
Skylar, if I ask you the same question, you're going to answer most of what she said, but just, for the organization, everything else. But why Seattle for you specifically in terms of let's get on the court the way that they play? Why specifically Seattle?
I want to play with Jewel. Trying to figure out how to play with, your players that you hate guarding and playing against, and Jewel and Nneka are at the top of that list. No, but yes, to echo everything Nneka, put very well, the experience from the coaching staff, Noe, just getting to talk to her, and I probably call her every other day now. We always connecting. But yeah, it's just I'm a vibes person, and coming in here, this is the only team that I talked to that I took a visit to. Just really intentional about coming here, wanting to be here. But I connected with one person very early in the process, and that was Jewel. And if I wasn't talking to Jewel, I was talking to Nneka. And so those are the two players that I talked to the most. So they were my option one, plan A too, playing with those players. And just, I want to be around winners. I think it's really important at this point in my career to be around people that I feel like know me, and she knows me and I know her. And I don't tell anybody anything, and I tell her things because I trust her. And that's the type of people I want to be around, people that know me. And Jewel knows me, and Nneka knows me. And that's important in the locker room. We always have an adult in the room that's going to tell me the hard things, and tells me when I'm right, and she tells me when I'm wrong. And we don't always get along, but I think that that in the moment, but I think that we know each other. We've known each other for over 20 years. And our relationship stems back with both of those. Jewel in her teenage years, when she used to come to Notre Dame and bust our ass when she was a sophomore, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this girl, you coming here? But just knowing her since she was young. And I think that's what where I am at this point in my career. And I want to be around winners. Like, I'm taking my cues from them because they won. I'm taking my cues from Noe. I'm taking my cues from Nneka, Jewel, Ezzy, Sammy. Like those are the type of players I want to be around. And then fit. I just think it fit for me, for my game on both sides of the floor. When I was looking at needs, and I watched Seattle probably the most out of anybody last year. I got to watch a lot more. Me and my baby just like watching all the games, but I got to see, and I really like the offense. I like the system, and I could see it, and where I could contribute. And I felt like this team was the best fit for me on paper.
Mark Muschietti, Associated Press. Question for Skylar. Personally, for you, great year last year. Obviously, welcome your second child and all that. Professionally, tough for you. Had some adversity. How did you deal with that? Everybody deals with adversity a little bit differently. How did you get yourself through it and keep yourself moving forward, thinking ahead?
Yeah, I'm a fairly positive person. I'm very confident in my abilities. I wouldn't say I'm an insecure woman. I'm very secure with myself, and what I can bring to the table. And I don't just know my value, I know my worth too. And that's something that was instilled in me as a young girl, you know. And so coming here, I felt empowered. I feel like I could let out a breath that I was holding, if you will, and just really be, like I said, empowered to be myself, be me, and everything, all the nuances that come along with that. And so, yeah, I took the time off to be with my family, and for the past 18 months, you guys are the first people I'm talking to in 18 months. And so I took time away to really, sometimes you have to remember your why you're playing. And so I just kind of dug down deep into that. And my comfort zone is my family. And I needed that time to recalibrate everything, just everything that's going on. That season was so unique in what the whole league was experiencing, and having, you know, one of our sisters be detained, you know, just that baseline. So it was a unique year. But one thing that never wavers for me is my performance on the court. I'm very confident in the product I could put out there on the floor, and to be going through everything that was going on that year and to still be very productive on the floor. At the end of the day, I feel like that's what it's all about, what I bring to the table there. But yeah, if you know, you guys only know what you know. So, and I know what I know. And so I had a great year last year, taking a break from everything. And it really made me very eager to return. I'll just say that.
If I could just do a quick follow-up to that answer. You're obviously coming back from having your second child. We talked a bit with Sammy at the end of last season about how she felt really supported as a mother by this organization. I'm wondering if that had anything at all to do with your decision.
All women around making decisions. You see that when you come into the practice facility, even it's built, it's very thoughtful, I'll just say, and how it's built, and what we need, what I need at this stage in my life. The one-stop shop where you don't have to share it with an NBA or G League affiliate team. You come in and it really does feel like yours. And so, yeah, resources. I mean, you say things like veteran and experience, that means you're old, Sky. So, you know, we need all those resources. And so this team had the best of the best, top to bottom. And yeah, so it was no doubt from that sense of I feel supported. And, you know, we're obviously at the beginning stages of our relationship, but they have a plan. And that's what I like, structure, a plan. And yeah, and if I'm not, they encourage me to let them know what I need. So,
and for my other question, for both of you, if that's all right, we've heard a lot from other people, and I'm sure we'll continue to hear from a lot of people about what you bring to this team and what fans can expect to see. From your own perspective, what do you bring to this team, and what should fans expect from you this season and going forward?
I think you can expect good basketball. I think that it's important to really highlight what Sky said about her wanting to play with Jewel. You know, I had conversations with playing with Jewel. We didn't know if it was going to be in Seattle or not. And me and Skylar, we've always been talking about since we were kids that we're going to end up on the same team one day, you know. And I think when you have three people who are selfless like that, three people who are dangerously disciplined like that and respect the game, and you have a coach that also embodies all of those characteristics, you can expect good basketball, you know, played the right way, won the right way, lost the right way. Like there's going to be a standard of excellence and discipline in everything that we do. And that's not just because of me saying it. I know these women and they embody that. I know a lot of the players on this team, and that's something that was really huge for me, was integrity and doing things the right way. And that's what the fans can expect. And we're going to have some fun, you know?
that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
that's Nneka is presidential, and it's like, yeah, turn it to me. Yeah, I mean, personally, I am trying to be a menace on both sides, every play. I'm not ever stopping, ever. So that's what you're gonna get from me. I love interacting with the fans. I'm excited for them to cheer for us because it's hell when you come here. So I'm looking forward to meeting them, interacting with the fans. We've been in the league a long time, so we've been around the Pacific Northwest, this area, this fan base, how passionate they are. I even welcome people that could be skeptical because it's new and they're passionate about this team, and I see it. And when like Nneka said, when you do things passionately, authentically, it translates. And I think they'll see that we really care about building onto this legacy, while we're here, that was already started. This is a collaboration. It's culture everywhere, but it's great culture here. And that's what I want to be a part of. So just adding to that in every way we can positively. And hopefully just continuing that legacy of bringing a great product on the floor to compete for a championship. I'll put that out there since we didn't say that word.
Yeah, let you say it.
Okay. But yeah, that's everybody's goal. And I think it's just how we go about things and habits that we create that'll help us get closer to that.
Charles Hamaker with Circling Seattle Sports. For you both, I know, Skylar, you mentioned the facility, and if you want to add to it, please do. But for you, Nneka, just the facility, how big was that? Obviously you toured the arena, but just looking at the facility, not having to share, obviously, how big was that in your decision, and for, your career?
I mean, I think that I went through kind of a stage when I was going through my free agency of being okay with saying that things like that are important, because I think we've been pushed into such a corner of, well, you got to make more money, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so I do think that when I had taken my visit here and I walked into, let me tell you, like they were working in there, like they were like, this is going to get done. And so it just, I felt the energy of like its completion. I felt the energy of the investment. I felt the energy of the engagement. And then also just kind of being around people that are like, this is yours and this is what you deserve, It was a feeling that I hadn't felt before, and I think that when I was able to see it and when I was able to hear Talisa talk about it, I realized that it was something that that should be a priority on my list, because we're elite athletes, and of course we've been playing in such a transitional period of this league that I think sometimes what we want and deserve is not even sometimes, most times, is heavily buried by the kind of collective movement, and the selflessness of it all. And so I'd say now, hindsight is 2020, that was important. I honestly never thought that I'd ever play in a facility that was my own. And I just was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just show up and do my job. No matter what, I'm just gonna do my job. And so seeing that that's now a reality, I think I do realize that I'm stepping into, almost like a physical representation of my worth being in a facility like that.
Yeah, I started in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 3 years. That was we didn't even have a weight room when I was in Tulsa. And it's like the same as Nneka. You try to, you're trying to grow the game. You try to be positive. It's kind of hard to criticize it when you're in it, but that's the only way that it'll get better. And I can't say enough about how important that was for me, especially being a mom times two. Trying to figure it out every day, but just having that, it's very considerate of your time, and that's very important to me. Is time. It's time with my kids. My kids don't go to daycare; they're with me. So all of that lifestyle, it was really important for me. It just aligned, and then to be able to play with great players, it wasn't a hard sell for me. Here. And it really was a relationship that kind of started because I didn't know I was going to be traded. And so it just kind of like, well, this year is not going to work for me, but let's keep in touch. And it just so happened to work out that, it came around another opportunity to come here where I was in shape and not 8 months pregnant. So yeah, it's timing. And that's what we kind of come back to this whole. It's kind of crazy how it just, we were supposed to go to Stanford together. We were supposed to, be making moves. And so it was a timing thing too, ultimately.
Thank you. And then Coach, I just wanted to ask you, you know, in the press releases, you've talked about how exciting it is to coach players of this caliber, obviously, but how exciting for you also is it to have them, you know, at the facility and in games be able to provide lessons to players like Ezzy and like Jade from a coaching perspective?
It's huge. When Nneka was on her visit, actually, Jordan came to our dinner, and the way that Nneka was pouring into Jordan was amazing because she didn't have to. But at the end of the day, that's just who she is. She is an amazing human being playing the sport of basketball, but what she does transcends that. Her impact on the league. I talked to her in 2020, what she did for the league and what she stood on, and her impact as the president of the association. It's huge. And Sky is same way, a leader by nature, and having them to pour into our young ones, especially Ezzy, I think, who is at the top of her game. She's playing at an elite level now. Just imagine, you know, going against Nneka every day, getting the ball from Skylar every day, and getting those veteran tidbits that she needs to just continue to be great. They're going to make me better. The first thing Skylar said was, I want to be coached. So player of her caliber who has won on every level, top 10, they forgot rebounds, right? I didn't have Nneka in there. Is going to just make us, you know, even better on all facets, not just on the basketball court, but us as an organization, what they stand for, what they stand on, what they're going to do in the community. I think it just accelerates and excels us on every level.
Noe, you really emphasize the need for a legit starting point guard. Just talk about what Skylar is going to be able to bring, how she's going to be able to, you know, adapt your offense and utilize it.
Yeah, we already sent her film. She's been looking, so she's well versed in what we want to do. The thing that is very advantageous about Skylar is that she plays on both ends of the floor. So she's a hawk on defense, but what she can do offensively, not only creating for herself, but for others. We missed that tremendously last year. You saw what she did coming off of one baby. Now imagine coming off two. That grown woman motherly strength is going to still be there.
Got more mouths to feed. I'm like, move out the way.
But her ability to demand excellence from her teammates. But the first thing that she also told me was, this is Jewel's team. And so for her to be humble enough to accept the fact that, you know, Jewel is going to need her touches and her ability to continue to be great, but how they can feed off of one another, that just shows you her mind for the game and, you know, her heart and where she's at with really wanting to win. And again, just the competitive nature. You want your leader, you want your point guard to be extension of me as a coach, but also players play. And for them to be on the floor with a floor general like her, I am very, very excited and looking forward to the opportunity to just grow and learn with both of them.
Hey, Coach, question for you and then for both players. This organization has been a championship organization for forever. Right now, I know you all respect, I'm sure, what Las Vegas has done. So I'm curious how close you think this makes you to what they have done in the last 2 seasons, and how much did it influence your decision to come here to Seattle, join a star like Jewel Lloyd and Ezzy Magwar, Sammy, and be coached by someone like Noelle Quinn. So I guess I'll go players first.
I mean, I respect other teams, but I don't think about them.
I don't think about them
I'm
at all.
not gonna lie.
I don't think about
I'm
them one
actually kind of
bit.
surprised by your question.
I really am. I'm sorry. I'm a little
That's just how I am. It's like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I actually do not think about other teams.
It's
yeah.
not you, it's us.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So like,
I'm respectful.
yeah.
I think they're great.
Yeah.
I think they're great. And I think they're gonna try to win a championship. I think that Connecticut is trying to win a championship. I think New York is gonna try.
Phoenix is gonna try.
Phoenix is gonna try. They
Yeah.
better. They better. You know, everybody
Sure,
has
Atlanta.
the same goals. Like, why? Like, everybody's gonna try, and it's a lot of it's greatness in our league that we're very well aware of. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have I was going to go somewhere else with that, but now that I've heard this answer, Talisa and Noe, can you talk about the
Did
concept
we
of
not give the press conference? Mama don't get out much, so let me know if I'm missing some social cues. Like, let me know because Mama don't get out much. So,
Skylar, you can answer this one too. Can you guys talk about the concept of the super teams that's kind of sprung up last year with New York and LA and Las Vegas, and now you're here and ready to? Is this one of the reasons? Is it good or bad for the WNBA to have this top-heavy league with these teams? Or
we're a super team.
Yeah, are you asking if we are one?
I'm
Are we
putting
one?
you in that category
Okay.
with these signings now. But you guys tell me, is this part of that?
Is it for Talisa?
You guys want to answer first? Or?
I gave my answer.
Yeah. I think it's great for the league. I think there's a lot of teams that are in win now mode. And we, went through what we went through last year, have a lot of key pieces to build with. And we're excited about the addition of two very elite, talented players in positions that we needed on our roster to get back to where we want to be. So we're really excited. Skylar mentioned competing for a championship, which is always our goal. And we're going to take it game by game and see where that gets us. But we feel like we have a really talented group and we're excited to see how they come together. But I think the growth and, teams at the top, everyone wants to compete for a championship. That's why we're all here. So I think it's been great for our league and we're excited to be in that mix.
It's great to have the resources that now they have too. They were the only team in the league and they use it and they use it well. Coming off maternity leave, the best ability is availability. And so I know in my time, I didn't get to spend my time on the floor the last few years like I thought it would be with the people who I thought I'd be playing with. But when you look at the aces, you look at them, what they have access to, and now we'll have something similar to have access to those resources. I think that's important. Year-round staff, that's important. Year-round, availability to come in and they do a great job of utilizing their resources. And now we're one of the other only teams that have access to that as well. So I think that just helps be another competitive advantage that we can have.
Yeah, I mean, you would call it competitive advantage, but I call it standard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
like,
that's
it's unfortunate though that that's what it is.
It is. It is right now.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, I think I just wanted to say, Talisa was talking about how Skylar said we want to compete for a championship. I personally, even the years that I've competed and won, that wasn't something that we necessarily talked about was like winning. Cause I think a lot of teams come in and they say, we want to win a championship. But it's important for people to hear that Skylar said compete. Talisa said compete. That's what you have to come in and do every single day. It's all about the process. The result's going to be the result, but it's all about the process. And the compete is what is, it's the continuity of that. And that's what we saw in Vegas. They were competing every single day. Everyone watched Game 4 last year.
Mhm.
That was competing. It didn't matter who was out there. It was competing. And that's something that I know that I do, Jewel does, Sky, Noe, I mean, everyone down the line. I think that that's what I want to be a part of. And that's something that comes with an organization that clearly can put their money where their mouth is when it comes to engagement and investment. And we see that in the resources available to us for us to be able to compete.
Right. So this organization is about on the court and also making a lasting impact off the court. And all four of you have been trailblazers in terms of what you're doing off the court, and trailblazers, and I would say also leaders, forget the role model thing, leaders. So this question, it's about Black History Month, right? So I'm going to say Black History Month, and you don't have to go long, but what it means to you. So we'll go from there to there. Talisa, I say Black History Month, you say.
Yeah, it's great to honor a part of our culture as part of the Storm, really take pride in Black History Month and the opportunities that we've been able to provide and help create in our community. So for us, it's a chance, really it's one piece of time. We feel like throughout, the entire year that we do that work in our community, but it's really an opportunity to showcase it in a different way.
For me, it's the diaspora. And this is something that I talked about on my visit. Talisa asked me like, hey, we know that you do a lot. And what is it that you want to elevate? And it's the diaspora. I'm Nigerian American. My family's Nigerian. You know, I was raised here. There's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of women like me who are playing sports. There's a lot of women who have ties to my Nigerian side and my American side. And I think ensuring that you don't have to choose, but it's the best of both worlds. It's the whole of the sum of all the parts that make you you. And elevating the diaspora to me is something that's important. It's not singular. It's not reserved for 1 month, 1 day. And it's really a big reason why a lot of what happens today is happening, both for those who come straight from the continent and those who came here unwillingly and basically built this country and other countries. And so that was something that I told Talisa actually that I wanted to be a part of. My legacy here was elevating the diaspora. And since I've learned that there's a lot of Africans out here, I learned that there's a lot of Nigerians out here. Where are you from? Zimbabwe. All right. Okay. You know, my dad's back here. He's wearing traditional wear, you know, and sorry, Dad, I know you don't like being, you know, like the attention, but that's huge for me, especially right now in my career and seeing like what my sister's doing on TV and seeing how inspired and excited people are to meet her. People watching ESPN in the corners of Africa, you know? And so I want to do my part as a part of Black history to elevate that, especially with the Storm. And hopefully Ezzy will want to do it too. I know she's shy, but that's what I think about when I think of Black history.
Y'all gonna make me go after Nneka on all the questions. Like y'all really are. Yeah, to piggyback. And visibility is really important, especially me having a daughter now. I have my daughter. And so just, I guess, the legacy of visibility, her being able to see me in this position and the power, I guess, I have to cut out some of those hurdles so she doesn't have to face them. And so, yes, for my son as well, but now that I have my daughter, put certain things into perspective, especially in relation to this league and what it means to me to sustain it so she can play in it as well, but also that she can see people that look like her, and specifically her mommy making some change. And so it's loaded question for me, but that's a part of.
Black history is celebrating Black excellence. It is acknowledging our past and understanding that we have a bright future. Black history is history. Black History Month is, honoring, all of the individuals who helped us in the past. Black history is this. From Nigeria, president of the league, a mother, both amazing athletes, trailblazers off the court. Black history is me, first Black woman coach in this organization. So again, a loaded question, and obviously I don't have enough time, but Black history is really deep. It shouldn't be celebrated only 1 month. It should be acknowledged that Black Americans, Black Africans, Black culture, the diaspora, we have impacted this world in a major way, and we will continue to do so.
Question.
Yeah,
Good
that's
question.
a good way to end.
With the room.
Right.
I'm sure some Zoom.
Oh, yeah, with the room. Sorry.
Nneka cutting it.
Sorry, let's take some questions from the Zoom folks. We'll start with Kevin Pelton, and then we'll go to Annie after that. Kevin, go ahead.
Thanks, Skylar, for letting us do this. Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. Nneka, I'm curious, the first time really going through this process, knowing that you were going to head somewhere else in LA, what was it like, and what was the attention like on your visit here and the time you spent in New York?
Actually, when I started exploring free agency, I didn't know that I wasn't going back to LA. And I think that that's what was making the decision so difficult. Granted, every team has their advantage, but LA had a huge advantage. I'd been there for 12 years. And so kind of grappling with figuring out what leaving would look like. And so I'm very grateful that I was able to come to that decision early on, both for me and also for the organization, because no one wants to hold anyone hostage. You know, everybody wants to see this league do well. But, you know, my priority was seeing where I go do well. But I think that once I had made that decision, I was really able to step into free agency like a free agent, you know? I don't think that there was anything that was kind of like tugging me, you know, those 12 years kind of tugging me when I was visiting all these other teams. And once I was able to do that, it was really just, okay, let's see, you know, what does this team have? How do I feel here? You know, where do I see myself here? And ultimately it came down to feeling like a priority and not necessarily like a piece to a puzzle. And that's how I landed here in Seattle. You know, it was Pokey was saying you can't fake the feel. And so I felt the best here, and I'm really grateful for honoring the process and for everyone being patient with me honoring the process. I will say though, it takes a lot out of you free agency, because this is like the first one that I've actually ever done. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how, I'm sorry. I'm very blessed. I don't know how people do that. Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. And let's go to Annie and then Christina after that. Annie, go ahead.
Thanks, guys, for your time. Annie Costable from the Chicago Sun-Times. You both have talked in detail about the impact that resources have had on your guys' decisions to sign with Seattle. So I'm curious if you could speak to the gap that exists between franchises right now and how what franchises like Seattle are doing, like Vegas, like New York, like others, how you see those closing that gap just because of the competitive advantage that, like you guys said, should just be the standard.
I'm going to give kind of like an overarching answer, and then, you know, I'll let Sky get into the details. But for me, especially like this free agency period was also really helpful for me because obviously, you know, I'm representing the union members. And one thing that I was able to sense this, whether it was on a call or visiting in person, the gap is wide. If your ownership is not just investing, but also not engaging. So if your ownership is investing, that's one thing. But if they are engaging, that's where you really see stuff happening. That's where you really feel like the players are taken care of. You know, we can talk about all these other resources, but the teams that have investment and engagement from ownership is the difference maker. And I really feel like Seattle is at the top of that. And not just from my free agency, but even just being able to see it from afar, you know, and seeing players' experiences here from afar. And obviously now living in a house that other people built. But the investment and the engagement from ownership, to me, is what is going to widen the gap down the line.
Can I ask what you mean by engagement? Is it like showing, is it being around? Is it like, what specifically do you mean by engagement?
I mean, when you feel like someone's engaging with you, like, could you, and I'm not trying to be funny, like, how do you, when you feel like someone's doing it well, like, what are you experiencing?
It's like a connection, it's communication, it's showing up, it's being present.
Yep. Exactly that. So, I mean, you know, when you think about it from just a regular relationship, that's like, you said it perfectly. That's exactly what it is. And it's no knock, you know, I just really feel like with the growth of this league, it requires more energy. It requires, you know, more of that. And you can see that that is translating and manifesting in resources for the players.
Mm-hmm. Skylar, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think she said it. I think she said it. What? No, I don't. I don't. I think she absolutely said it right. And it is, you're obviously a focal point here too. It's not another team here that you have to feel like you're in competition with. For instance, yeah, you have your own, yes, we have our own facility, but you can't use it from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, okay, it's kind of like an afterthought. Like, we have this team. Oh yeah, and we have this team too. Feels like that when you could be in markets where other teams are present, NBA, G League, what have you. And I didn't get that vibe from here. Nneka knows because she knows everything about this league. No, I don't. And you know, the practice facilities, just saying from the practice facility standpoint, like as presidential, she knows certain things. I don't know about how everybody else's practice facility is, but I've never seen anything like this before. And so just for me personally, and just even partnering with some of the partners that I work with currently, that was important to me, being with Susan, the Athlete Blueprint. You know, we had a lot of commonalities for me, so.
And I would like to add too, you know, when it comes to the investment and the engagement, you're going to see people at different points in their timeline. I guess like teams and organizations at different points in their like evolution and their timeline and their existence. And so I don't want anyone to feel as though it's like a direct relationship to what you see right then and there, you know, because we've had ownership changes, we've had ownership additions, you know, but if you see the energy around ownership and how quickly things change, or even talking to players and their experiences, yeah, one team may not have this, another team may not have this, but their experiences could be better or worse depending on the investment and the engagement that they're experiencing from the ownership and thus the team.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Annie. And we'll go to Christina and then Nekais after that.
Hey, Skylar. Hey, Nneka. Thank you for being here with us. It's Christina Williams with Girls Talk Sports TV and Sportsnet New York. My question is a follow-up for Nneka and Skylar. You talked about being the president of the WNBPA, and obviously this is a year where players can opt out of the collective bargaining agreement. So I guess what influences you as a player and the president of the WNBPA when it comes to these discussions surrounding that CBA negotiation? Both you and Skylar talked about the importance of resources. So can you just give us a glimpse of what you will be advocating for this upcoming CBA? And Skylar, I know you're very vocal about the needs of players. Do you plan to be a part of some of those discussions this time around?
I mean, for you know, I've been now a part of 2 CBA negotiations, and potentially, of course, you know, maybe we'll see what happens a third. I guess how I can answer this, one, because we don't know the results of the opt-out, I can't tell you what we would discuss because it's up to the players to vote. Right now, the most important thing for me is communication, information, and voting turnout. That's it. Like, that's really what I focus most on, making sure that there is engagement from the players and they're communicating their needs and their wants and even their questions and ideas, and ensuring that that results in a high voting turnout. That's really what is most important. And then from there, we kind of move forward. And then also too, to kind of speak for different types of players, you know, of course, you know, this free agency is imperative for what could happen in the future in terms of what I was able to see in my free agency journey, as we consider the resources that we can continue to change and evolve and progress. But when it comes to players and engagement, everyone has a different flavor. Everyone has a different style. Everyone has different levels of engagement. So one thing that I try my best to do in my leadership style is to not pressure people to do things a certain way. So, and I'm sure Skylar she will speak to this more in terms of like how she wants to engage, you know, but I think it's important to know that it's not just limited to being a part of, you know, the CBA committee for players to engage. There's different ways that they can at different levels that they want to. All we do is we ask for them to do it in a way that's most comfortable. And we saw a lot of success in that when we were deciding to opt out and ultimately renegotiate, you know, back in 2019, 2020. And I look forward to seeing more of that, especially as vets like us we've both been a part of 2 different CBAs, as we engage with the younger players, because this is more for them than it is for us. And I look forward to seeing what communications come from that, what forums come from that, because I learned a lot. Skylar was the biggest reason why I learned so much about what the moms needed, because I don't have kids yet. Yeah. And it took me talking to someone like her to understand, because her day-to-day does not look like my day-to-day, but we both have to come out there and do our same jobs. And so she doesn't have to be a part of a committee for us to be engaged in a way where she can be reflected in what could be another collective bargaining agreement. So I look forward to seeing how we can continue to give players the platform and the space to ask questions and engage in whatever way makes them feel comfortable, so that they're reflected in the decisions that are made.
And Skylar, I don't know if you had anything to add, especially with your experience in the last year as a player. What ways would you want to, as Nneka said, engage with those discussions for the new CBA if you guys decide to opt out?
Sure. No, the first time we did the CBA, I kind of was just like, yeah, I'll do whatever you guys say. You know, I was so young coming into the league. You just kind of just listen to the majority. What do you got? What does everybody want? Try to prioritize it and get as much as we can from that. And that was like my first experience. And then obviously we spent a ton of time together in 19 and 20 doing things, playing. And so I was a mom for the first time. That was a whole nother perspective that I was speaking from coming in 25, 26, And so having Nneka, no, I'm not voted in as the president or vice president, but I'm going to use my platform and always say how I feel, and I'm going to advocate for everybody in the league and change. And obviously I can advocate the best for myself and what I needed. And they put the Skylar clause in the CBA and talking about, moms and getting guaranteed money and things like that. So yeah, I was involved. I'm not a committee member, but I'm very involved because I care. And I'm just speaking to what I spoke to earlier now, especially with my daughter and stuff. And just, it means a lot to me. Sustaining this league means a lot to me. And so, yeah, I will continue to be a part of those conversations and fight for our quality of life, and other things that I feel like are really important.
One follow-up for Skylar. In the off season, you've been able to show us a glimpse of you in the gym, working out with Bridget. Just can you talk about that relationship and what it's been like just getting back into shape and as you prepare for your return to basketball?
Yeah, it's gonna make me cry.
I appreciate that, Sky. Thank you so much.
No,
I don't know if you want to
it's okay.
continue.
It's okay. It's different, I question, like, could I do this? Did I want to do this? Like, I didn't feel like I wanted to keep playing. I didn't know, and so it's been tough. And I think me and Bridget, we've been together for 10 years. She came to me in Tulsa after I had that rookie season where I averaged like 8.5 points. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play in the WNBA. I'm just going to go overseas and like, this ain't for me. This league ain't for me. I don't fit in. And she was the one that grabbed me like, no. She's from Indiana too, East Chicago. So I'm from South Bend. That's like 45 minutes from each other. She grabbed me like, no, you're great. I believe in you. Sometimes just as simple as that, And 10 years later, I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. I might just retire. I might just leave. I told Jana that. And she pushed me. I lost 50 pounds. I was 204 pounds and I play at 145. And it's like, I can't move. I can't run. I can't walk. And we spent like since my daughter was like 2 or 3 months, we've been in that gym. And I'm talking about in the gym on our own, paying for the gym to work out at the gym. And, she got me back to that belief where I feel like now I feel stronger than I was before. And I didn't think that was possible. Going through postpartum stuff, you just never know where you're going to be at. And she pulled me out of another place. And so she is like, I can't understand, I can't say enough what Bridget means to this journey and just lighting another fire. Like, I'm coming for everything. And she put that in my mind that, I could be great and I'm still great. And not only that, I could be better. And I really believe that. And with this group, the support system is what I need at this stage. I really do feel like that. Like, I feel like I'm better now. I feel like I'm stronger, mentally tougher, physically stronger. And I cannot wait for the opportunity to prove that.
Thank you, Skylar.
Thanks for saying. We got time for a few more questions. Let's go to Nikias and then Christos right after that.
All right, Nikias Duncan here of the Dunker Spot. Thank you all for being here. I had a question for you, Coach Quinn. Last season, the Storm didn't post up a bunch, but you go through that film, a lot of creative concepts, using your guards as screeners, some flow out of horns, a lot of fun stuff within those possessions. How do you see Nneka sliding into that, and how do you balance that usage with the on-ball juice that Skylar and Jewel provide?
Yeah, the first thing I told Nneka was we couldn't post anybody up last year. She knows that. She said, well, Ezzy, you couldn't post up? No, not going Ezzy. Shot amazing from the three. But having an ability to not only post Nneka, but isolate her in areas of the floor where she can excel, putting her in space. Obviously, I've been really excited this offseason with what I want to do. But as you know, our offense is pretty versatile. We like to play free. We like to play with space, but ball screens are a lot of what we do as well. So when you have a playmaker like Skylar, who is able to, like I said earlier, create for herself, but also for others. You saw what she does historically in the league, what she does in pick and roll situations. Now getting her off the ball a little bit and her ability to not only score from the mid-range, but also get to the lane, shoot the three consistently. These are things that are going to help our offense tremendously. We struggled a lot getting into the paint and have efficiency around the rim. When you add an elite scorer like Nneka, that already gives us an advantage there. But if you think about putting shooters on the floor like Sammy and having the ability to stretch, we just can score in a variety of ways this year.
Thank you.
Let's go to Christos and we'll wrap up, with Rafiq.
Hello, ladies. Christos Salda, Sport Greeks. Hope you're doing well. Skylar, question for you. How much motivated you are going to the upcoming season? And do you have any chip on your shoulder that if you have something to prove on the floor that you are still a top level player? Is it something back on your mind like that?
No, I play the same way regardless every time. I don't have a specific chip this year. I look for things, but I'm very competitive, and so I'm self-motivated. I don't need like a pep talk, and I think the best way I can respect the women of this league is to play as hard as I can on every possession and compete as hard as I can. I think that's the most respectful way I go about it.
Thank you very much. And question for you, having a teammate like Ezzy, how much comfortable do you feel on the floor having a player that with taking so much pressure off of you, making all the small things defensively for you? How much comfortable do you feel playing alongside her?
Well, I mean, for me, I don't see Ezzy as, a supplement. I see her as a compliment, I think that it's very important to regard her in the same conversation as you see me, Sky, and Jewel, like Noe said, she's playing at the top of her game. But what's so wonderful about Ezzy is that she still hasn't hit it.
She had the most years ahead of her.
Yeah,
All of us.
she still hasn't hit it. So when Noe was talking about us needing some back to the basket scoring, I was like, okay, obviously we have Ezzy. That's going to change. I'm going to have to go in there and, add a little something to her game, help her add a little something to her game. And I look forward to playing with someone who she's so raw in her perspective, not even in how she plays, but she just goes out there and she's playing basketball, and if I can be a part of what adds some type of killer mentality to that, I know she's going to help me do it because I've had to guard her. And so being able to be with her, guarding her and playing with her every day, I look forward to playing with someone who is, I personally think, regarded as, an all-star of this league, and ultimately will also be, someone who holds great legacy for this team and for this league. And so I look forward to playing with someone who can complement, not necessarily be a sidekick. We're going to have a relationship out there that's going to be very difficult to beat. I have a lot of years playing with one of what people think might have been arguably the hardest front court to play against. And so I'm excited to be able to play with someone that can kind of like dust that memory off for me, and be able to kind of build off of what I was able to build with Candace too, through what I've learned through her.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christos. And last question goes to Rafiq, and we'll wrap up.
This is Rafiq, conductor, but that's sports. So I got a question for Nneka. What do you look to bring to a Seattle Storm franchise and seeing a lot of championship success on and off the court?
So just in general?
In general.
Yeah, I mean, like as a player?
Yeah, as a player, and yeah.
I mean, for me, I think that's something that has always been a part of my game is consistency. And I want to be able to be consistent and efficient. You know, I think being efficient is also a big part of my game. But I do want to bring a different level of dynamic play. You know, I think people have noticed that I've evolved my game, and I know that playing with and against Skylar and Jewel every day, and Ezzy and Sammy and Jordan, is going to make me a better player. I always try my best to work on a little something that I can add to my game each off season, and I hope that I can continue to bring that evolution to the team. I communicated to Noe when I came that I love that I know that I can do it all, but I don't want to feel like I have to. And I don't mean to say that I'm not going to give my all, but I think that understanding how I can bring my role into something that has so many major pieces is what's going to create the team that we all envision. You know, we have the culture down, you know, when it comes to how the organization is both on the court and off the court. And we want to see that manifest on the court. And I want to be a big part of leading in that way, both by how I play and how I veteran. And that's something that I hope to, and I don't really hope, you know, that's a standard for me. That's an expectation. That's what I'm going to bring.
Appreciate the insight. Good luck.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Best of luck on the season, ladies.
Thanks, everyone.
You got some food recommendations, just leave them at we got
Please.
some cards back there. You can write all the food recommendations.